Okay guys, so for today's video, I have an idea in my head. Have not really thought it out very well yet, and you know how I do. So I guess this is a start from stash video because I'm just going to use some basic cardstock. And I have this Christmas paper, and I figure since Christmas is coming up, we want cute, you know, ways to package gifts. We're going to create this box that you probably already saw a thumbnail of, and I have no idea how I'm going to do this. What I want it to be is like a box that has like a little lid that kind of flaps open. So I think I'm going to have to create it in two pieces. So I'm going to focus on like the base box because that'll be the easiest thing for me. And then the little flap top we'll think about in a moment. If anything I use is still available, I'll link it in the description box, possibly embed in the video here. Those would be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission for your purchase items to those links. But, you know, I always encourage you guys to use your stash. So that's what we're going to do today. Yeah, so I think I need to write some numbers down for sure, and we'll go from there. So I have all these printouts. Oh my gosh. I need to put these printouts with the actual dies that go along with them with the spellbinders. I have some other things here printed out also, but I'm going to use the back of one of these for some, to write down some numbers. Okay. Oh, I should have got that little book. Anyway, let's see here. I want it to be kind of like a rectangular shape, and I'm just trying to think if I should make it so that I have to like make it like a regular box like we do with the two sides, or like a base. I really want it. Okay, I think this is what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to make it a box that has like this top portion, and then of course the bottom of it, right? So we're gonna keep going here, but there's some score lines, and then it comes up. And maybe there's glue tabs here. And then the portion needs to come up here with also glue tabs, maybe. Let's pretend. I honestly have no idea how I'm going to execute this. Okay, so I don't know that I need these bottom glue tabs. I suppose you would if you bring this up and then that goes around the side. Okay, let me think this out just a little bit more because this seems... Oh, we need the side pieces, right? Not just glue tabs. You need the side. So, yeah, this can be scored. The actual side, that's what it is. That's throwing me off. And then glue tabs here or glue tabs over here because you're going to need to glue this together, obviously, in the shape that we want. Okay, all right, that makes sense. The only thing is we're limited by the width of our paper, or the, you know, length of the paper, and you're not really limited by that because if you want to make something bigger, you can always add another glue tab and make a bigger piece, right? So if this paper is 11 inches, and I don't really care about the sizing of this because I don't even know what I'm thinking. Maybe you put a little cocoa packet in there and some other things, so we can definitely design it around a cocoa packet. But if this paper is already 11 inches deep or high, tall, maybe we do a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch depth. 1/2 inch is a nice number to work with. 1 inch is really wide. Should we do 1 inch? It'll be 5 inches tall if we do 1 inch at the base, or you know, at the bottom of the box. 5 inches tall. Let's see. That's this tall. That's not bad. Okay, so let's do that. So 5 inches up here, right? 1 inch here in this little area, and that means 5 inches again over here. Okay, because we're going to add a flap later, right, to close it up on the top, so I don't care about that. And then the width of it. So 5 inches tall, 4 inches wide. That's really big. Okay, 5 inches tall, 4 inches wide. Let's do 4 inches wide. So this piece right here is going to be just the 4 inches. Again, I can add glue tabs there. I can add it on this other side with the gusset, like whatever you want. I think it's better to keep it all over here. So if that's 4 inches wide, that's going to be 4 inches here to the score lines. This is 1 inch deep at the base. That means it has to be 1 inch sides, right? Because otherwise it won't match up. So here's 1 inch here, 1 inch here. And then glue tabs, and I like to do like 1/2 inch glue tabs. So we have that. And then this one's a little bit special. So we're going to be doing some fun things, but we're making this from scratch, guys. So it's going to be a little interesting because here we have that 4 inches right here. But we're going to have 1/2 inch glue tabs. So here's a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch. So we're going to have to keep those things in mind. So for right now, I need a piece of cardstock that is 11 inches tall, which this already is, plus 4, 5, 6, 7 inches wide. 4 by 7, okay? I'm going to cut this A2 size paper down to 4. I'm sorry, I just came back. I think, did I say 4 by 7? Ugh. 11 by 7 is what I'm going to do, okay? So 7 inches here. Okay, guys, we're going to work on this together. I know some people like that. Some people do not like that. They're like, just come give me the numbers and, you know. But anyway, I just cut 1.5 inches off the 8-inch side, right? So it's 11 by 7, okay? Took that 1.5 inches. 11 by 7. Our first score line should be 5 inches on the 11-inch side. So I'm going to turn this to the side, and I'm going to score this at 5 inches. I know it's a little bit out of focus. I'm sorry about that. But trust me, it's at 5 inches. And I'm going to score that, okay? And, I mean, while we're here, we might as well go ahead and score the next one, which is 5 inches tall. We have a 1-inch space here. So I'm going to go to 6 inches and score there. Oh, don't cut. Score there, okay? Now, I'm going to start using my trimmer as like my tool. So we only want this 4 inches wide here, right? So that means I need to take off 1.5 inches on either side up to the score line. Okay? So, again, 11 by 7 scored at 5 inches and at 6 inches. Okay? So I'm just going to take this guy and I'm going to line it up at 1.5. And I'm going to take my cutting tool, and you can line it up at the 5 inches and bring it up, or cut down to 5 inches. Either way, right at that score line. About there, a little bit more. I'm going to cut that off, basically. Okay? And we're going to do the same thing over here. Now I can just turn it and line it up again at 1.5, even though it's down here. I can line it up at 1.5 and bring this all the way down and basically cut to the score line, which is at 6 inches, supposedly. It looks like a little bit off, and it's probably because, oh, this paper. This is the Michaels paper. I don't think it's exactly, yeah, it's 11 1/8. My goodness. Okay, well, that might mess me up. That might mess me up. Gosh. Oh, well. Okay, let's go up to right before the 6-inch mark, and I'm going to see if I can fix this. I think I left this without anything, right? I didn't measure this area, so let me just try and see if I can cut off. There's 5 inches there. It's a little over 5. What do we have here? This drives me nuts. Okay, well, we'll see. It might be okay, it might not be. So from here, I'm just gonna put this to the side for a moment. Make sure your paper is actually 11 inches. Like, if you have any issues with that, I'm sorry, this thing does not want to focus on paper that's like this. Let me see if I can put something else too. There we go. See? So weird. Okay. So I cut 1.5 off both sides. As you can see, I do need a new blade. And what I'm going to do is just cut this off because we don't need this right now. I mean, I can cut it off later. I guess we can do all the scoring, but I want it to be very obvious of what's happening here. So I'm going to cut those guys off. Okay. Ooh. So again, it was 11 by 7, scored at 5 inches and at 6 inches. Cut down 1.5 inches to the first score line, 1.5 inches to that next score line, or to the first score line, sorry. Same thing, just on opposite sides. Okay, so now we're going to start working on these pieces here. So the rest of it's going to be scoring, which is kind of funny. So I guess I could have just kept this here. So what we're going to do is at 1.5 inches. Oh my gosh, that drives me nuts. Look at that. 1.5 here, right, to this edge. 1.5 inches in. I'm going to score that. So let's get rid of this guy. Score all the way through. And same thing on this side. I'm going to turn this over, and at 1.5 inches, I'm just going to score. Keep that guy out of there. Okay. And then here we have our 1-inch gusset, but we also have 1/2-inch glue tabs, right? So we need to score again. Now these guys, I can cut this off whenever I want. So if you want, just do the scoring. So essentially you're scoring at 1/2 inch and 1.5, right? So the 1/2-inch glue tab, and then we have that 1 inch that matches the base. So again, scoring. So 1/2 inch and 1.5, guys. We'll talk about this again in just a moment. So let me turn this way, and I should have just done it all at once. But again, I'm making it up as we go. So there you go. Okay. So what we have here, I'm going to try to keep something here that keeps it focused, is there we go. So again, we start off 7 by 11. We scored at 5 inches across, at 6 inches across. We cut down 1.5 inches on either side right up to that first score line. And then on what's left here, we're scoring at 1/2 inch and 1.5, right? 1/2 inch and 1.5. That's it. Okay, so now we can cut. So I always like my little glue tabs to look kind of nice. So I'm just cutting at a little angle at the very top here towards the corner. And this one, we don't need this guy. And then again, if you want to divot this, it's nice. So however you want to do that in a way that makes sense. But let's say I'm going to cut right up to that score line, right up to, hold on, let me think. I might be doing this if the glue tab is there. I'm going to fold this just because in my mind I can't make this make sense quite yet. If that's scored there and this is folded up around here, I'm trying to see if I want the glue tab to be here. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to want to keep this glue tab, and what I'm going to do is cut at an angle towards this score line here, and then just cut straight up on that score line right up to the 1.5 inch mark, right? Could have done that a little nicer. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Oh, these scissors are not doing that very well. Okay, let's do it again. It's really thick paper, and for whatever reason, those scissors are like, nope, we don't need this little piece right here. Okay, so we could have just cut that off. And I'm going to cut off a little smaller because when we join this up, I just wanted to tuck in really nice. And then angle that piece. Okay, and I'm just going to finish angling this piece right to that 1/2 inch score line. Okay, and on this side, we're going to do the same thing. So essentially cutting this piece off, right? If you want to cut it off now, you can definitely do that. We're going to cut right up on this line and then angle the glue tab. Yay! I knew this part was not going to be a problem for me. Okay. And then we're just going to score everything towards the inside, right? And look at this, guys. Oh my gosh, that's going to go up. This goes here. I mean, that is... Yay! That came out really nice. Again, it might be off because of those numbers, like whatever it is from this Michael's paper. I feel like I need to take a little bit off this top part, but you know, I'm just going to leave it for now. I'm not going to worry about it, but make sure your paper is 11 inches and it'll line up perfectly. I have like an extra little bit up here, which is, drives me nuts, but that's okay. All right, so we have this. I think maybe we should matte later. No, we'll matte later afterwards. I don't want to make things more difficult. I'm going to go ahead and glue this together, okay? Let me get a little closer. I'm sorry, like I said, I have to get a new camera and it's just being problematic. So, I mean, for me, I feel like everything has to go at once. I don't know. Maybe we can do one side and then the other. Okay, we can do that. I'm going to put a little glue on this glue tab. And glue on this one. And I'm going to bring this side together. Go up and then bring this piece down and then just glue this right on the edge, of course. Okay, hold that down. That is so crazy. That Michael's paper I didn't think about. Measuring the 11 inches correctly. Or you know what I'm saying, making sure it was 11 inches. Anyway, I'm just going to hold this down, and obviously that's going to make connection. And since it's open, I mean, I can get in there if I wanted to. I would probably get in there with like a bone folder. Pretty easy. Just making sure that glue tab is touching the other side, keeping it nice. I mean, it's already holding together, but I'm going to give it a second before we go to do the other side. I think we're good. And then on this side, again, I like to use a wet glue because unless you tear it or rip it, it's not going to just pop open on you. Double-sided adhesives, even like the red liner tape, I feel like after a while, if it gets too hot or different things, it starts opening, and even the double-sided tape, just like the Suk Yang, those regular rolls, dry out and it lets go. So to me, wet glue is the way to go. Okay, so that made it, and this looks really nice. I might go ahead and matte layer decorate this before we move on. But I am going to glue the lid to the inside, but if you want to glue it to the outside and then cover it with a matte layer, I mean, that would probably be easier for you, then do that. What we're going to do right now is come up with some numbers. This is going to be very fun because I have not ever made something like this from scratch. So in my mind, I was going to put a little lid that comes down here, but it flaps up here. So I'm really going to have to think about that one. And I hope it makes sense what I'm trying to say. But basically, we're going to need a glue tab that goes down in here. Like this, right? My little glue tab like I usually do. With score lines. And then it needs to make a box up here that's going to fit over this. I can't even think of how to explain that. Let me see. Glue tab, we have the 1 inch. It needs to be like 1 1/16. Just like the smallest, bigger than this, so it fits over instead of just being so tight. 1/8 would be okay, but I think 1/8 is going to be too big. And then the flap that comes down across here, let's say maybe we want it to be like 2 inches. This is 5 inches tall. Maybe 2 inches up here. Okay, so we have 2 inches here. There's a 1/2 inch. And then the side piece, so that's going to be there. This needs to make a glue tab and a side piece. The side piece again needs to be 1 inch or 1 1/16, like that one. Okay, let me get some brain power into this because I feel like if I write this down, it's going to confuse us all. So let's do our matte layers before we get to that. So this, essentially we made it 4 by 5. So do you want to matte layer the sides too? You can definitely do that. This is 4 by 5 and this is 1 by 5, right? So we can make layers that go all around or just, you know, on the front, whatever you want. So I have plenty of Christmassy paper here. I'm going to do matte layers for the big pieces that are my mattes. See how nicely I write? Are going to be 3 7/8 by 4 7/8, and I want 2 of those. We have some equations here going with our parentheses and everything. And then 2 that are, if we're going to cover the sides, that are 7/8 by 4 7/8. So again, if you can make those numbers work in a way that, you know, you don't have to waste too much paper, you can definitely do that because these are the same number here. But I'm just going to take some of this paper and cut it down. And I'm not going to waste your time with that, but basically this pretty Christmas paper. Oh, that's cute. Let's see, maybe using this one. Look, I already cut it down before. Let's see if I can get... Do we use that very recently? I like to try and use different papers, but I really like that for a kind of a background. Okay, well, I just cut down some paper, but I'll be right back. From the scraps, I was able to cut these pieces, but I need one more. That's the 3 7/8, so that's a bummer. But okay, so let's do it from here to not waste so much of this paper. So I'll do the 3 7/8, and then I'll cut the 4 7/8 in the other direction. Since it's kind of a flower toss, I don't think it really has a direction. And so there we go. Okay. And I'm just going to glue these on right now. I think it makes it a little bit easier. So again, just take these guys, and hopefully that's all making sense as far as the numbers I'm giving you. This lid part, I'm really gonna have to think about, and I'm sure it's easy. It's just, you know, I'm on the spot trying to come up with some numbers. So I'm gonna glue this down here and glue these on the side. Again, if you need to pause, those are my numbers for the matte layers, but I think that's very easy. Glue this guy and this guy on the side, and then glue this one on the back, okay? I'm gluing down my last matte layer, and I think I just came up with something. I don't think this should be here. I think this should be cut off at the, this is funny, because it does need to also go around this edge at 4 inches. So 4 1/8, I would say, from here to here. This is only 1/16 because we're going to glue it here, and it only needs to go over this edge instead of going over both edges. So a 16th here and a 16th here for it to fit comfortably. So that's why I only added the 16th there. And I think I'm not going to do these tabs here, but it'll come from this area. I think that would make more sense because this needs to come down, right? When we fold here, let's just pretend like this is the first, like the glue tab. I know that looks really bad. Okay, this one goes down like this. And then these pieces can come back this way. And I think that would make the most sense. At 2 inches. And then I want to cut the paper. So I still got to come up with some numbers, but I'll be right back. Okay, guys, this is going to sound real crazy. And it looks really crazy, I understand. It'll make sense in a moment. So the height of the paper, if I need this flap to be 2 inches, that we want 2 inches down here, we need 1/16 to clear the 1 inch here, and then we need a 1/2 inch glue tab. So that's 2, 3, 3.5 plus a 16th. So 3.5 would be 3 and 8/16 plus a 16th, 3 and 9/16. I know that's a weird number, but that's what we need. Okay. And then the width, I need it to be 4 1/8, but I also want these 1 1/16. This glue tab is going to be a little smaller. We don't care about that right now. We need 1 1/16, 1 1/16. So that's 2 and 2/16, which is 1/8. So, which you also need here too. So 2 1/8 plus 4 1/8, that's 6 2/8, which is 6 1/4 this way. I'm going to cut a piece of black cardstock 6 1/4 inches by 3 9/16. If you're very new to card making or to paper crafting and stuff, the 16ths are basically every one of these little numbers, right? These are centimeters up here, but in the inches, every single one of these is a 16th. 2 of them, every 2 is an 1/8. You know, every 4 is a 1/4, right? 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1. So I'm looking at these little skinny guys when I cut. So I'm going to cut 3 9/16. And I just want to show you that in case. So 8/16 is out, you know, a 1/2. And I need 9/16, just this one little bit right there. So, you know, it doesn't have to be that specific. If you want to do an 1/8, do an 1/8. It's just going to stick over that much more. And then in the other direction, I'll do the 6 1/4. Okay? Just so I don't have to waste too much paper. Okay. So here comes the fun part. I need a score at 1/2 inch. I need a score at 1/16 from that 1/2 inch and at 2. So, you know, you can do 2 first. You can do the 1/2 inch. It doesn't matter. It's going to leave a 1/2 inch at the end if you do 2 and then 3 1/16. Maybe that's what we do. So on this side, we're going to score it 2 inches. Okay. So again, this paper is 3 9/16 by 6 1/4. On that smaller side, we're going to do 2 inches. And then 1 1/16, so 3/16, which is 3 plus that little notch right there, that one little bit. And hopefully that's enough to make it loose enough to do what I want. You know, I just kind of came up with it, so we'll see. On this other side, we need a few score lines. This glue tab, I don't really care about. I'm going to do whatever I want with that. I just wrote in a glue tab, but this is what we want. We want 1 1/16 on either side. So 1 1/16, which is right here, which is basically going to make an 1/8 inch all around bigger because this time we are clearing this side and this, you know what I'm saying, both sides here. So we want it to fit snug. And so 1 1/16 score line, not cutting. And same thing on this side, 1 1/16 score line. So let's repeat it one more time. Our piece of cardstock here is 3 9/16 by 6 1/4. It is scored at 2 and at 3 1/16. And then on these sides, it is scored at 1/16 on either side. Okay. This is all one piece right now. I know I'm going to cut this away because that's my glue tab. So all I'm going to do is cut here for now just to make it make sense and then divot away. Okay, that's my glue tab. And then we might take a little more off this glue tab anyway because we need it to tuck into the box. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. So right now I'm just cutting right on this line and cutting that away. This glue tab, just so it's making sense for you now, is going to glue in here. And then this is going to be this outside flap, okay, that comes down. You can style this however you want. I think the easiest thing for me on this part is to basically cut it away. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So let's give it a score just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So if this is over here, this is going to come down like this, okay? We have this whole piece and then this piece. So this is going to become part of the glue tab that goes this way. So I know that seems weird, but I'm going to cut it down to this area, just that's first score line. Cut this one down to that first score line. Hope you can envision what I'm doing here. This glue tab is going to come in here and glue. And of course I always divot it away just so it fits nicely. So I'm just going to trim away a little bit of that there. And a little bit here just to get it to that score line. Same thing here. You guys, I'm absolutely making this up on the fly. Usually I know how to make boxes. I've never ever done something like this. So hopefully it works. It looks like it's going to. And then this piece, does that look cute? Not really, right? So let's pretend this is in here. And this is glued here, and now it's going to open like this. This is fine. I mean, if you don't mind that just being as big as it is, in my mind, I wanted to cut it like this at an angle. So I'm just going to cut it at an angle, okay? So let me leave this here so you can kind of see what that shape looks like right now. I need to know the measurement of this. I believe it's 2 inches by 1 1/16, right? Because I'm going to cut a matte layer that's going to work for that. And it's not easy to do when you cut angles. So 2 inches by 1 1/16. Okay, so that little guy is 2 by 1 1/16. So we're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock. We're going to cut this at an angle, but we're going to make this work in a minute. 2 by 1 1/16. So let's say I like 1/8 inch smaller, so it needs to be 1 7/8 by 1 1/16, which take away 16th, that's 1. Take another 1 16th, it's basically just 9 16ths. I know that's a weird number, but that's what it is. 9 16ths. My gosh, guys, I'm going to do a hard edit right here because I'm so silly. 9 16ths, that's just over 1/2 inch. Those aren't the numbers. I'm sorry. So to do my matte layers, we need 2 pieces. Again, we measured this and we said, you know, it was what it was, this little area here. And I actually need a piece of cardstock that's going to be 1 7/8, right? So 1 7/8 this way. But in this direction, I need it 1/8 of an inch smaller than the 1 1/16. So that's 15 16ths. Sorry, I did that incorrect. So it's going to be 2 pieces for either side here. That is 1 7/8 by 15 16ths. And then I went on to measure some other things, which was correct. So this front flap here, 1/8 of an inch smaller from 4 1/8 is 4 1/8 by 2. I want 1 piece that's 4 by 1 7/8. Sorry if my handwriting is. And then the last piece that's going to go up here is, if you can imagine, 4 1/8 by 1 1/16. I need it to be, you know, 1/8 of an inch smaller all around. That's what I like. So 4, just like this other one, by 15 16ths. What was I doing? I think I was thinking 8. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so that's what I'll be cutting. Okay, so 2 pieces for this area. And actually, if you think about it, I probably only need 1 piece, and then we're going to cut it in half anyway. Right? The 1 piece that goes here, when we cut it in half, the other piece can go on this other side. But I'm still going to cut 2 individual pieces just to keep it really simple. So 2 that are 1 7/8 by 15 16ths. 1 matte layer that's 4 by 1 7/8 for this front, and then 1 more piece that's 4 by 15 16ths for this top. Oh, and on my paper, I'm going to cut it at 4 inches in the width first, and then cut the other pieces, because there are 2 that are 4 inches anyway, and that way I don't cut too much from, like, you know, your paper. You just want to use as little as you can. So 4 inches in this direction, and then cut everything else from that. Okay, so I think I have all my pieces, hopefully, and mix them up here. So for this front piece here, I have this matte layer. I'll put it like that. That looks cute. Again, whenever you have like this toss kind of pattern, it doesn't really matter. If you do have a certain pattern that you want to keep, then you want to think about that as you're cutting things. I didn't get in the corners enough here. It drives me nuts when corners start lifting. So there you go. Okay. And I'm doing this while it's flat just because it seemed easier, but you can decorate whenever you want. And then this piece can go up here. Oh, look, it's from the same piece. Cute. I like when I continue cutting because then the pattern just keeps going. I didn't really think about that earlier for the other one. Okay. Right in here. I hope this works out, guys. Now, these pieces are what I was saying. To be honest, if you just cut it in half, it probably would work. I don't know. But I'm just going to cut them. So you can take this to your guillotine or just kind of eyeball like I'm doing, and it should work theoretically, right? Just cut that in half. Maybe I should have kept the other one. Hold on. No, that's not going to work. Okay. because this has like some white. Hopefully this works out. Sometimes it's possible I probably should have taken another little amount off so it really nestles in this triangle shape here. But I just went with it. Yeah, see, I should have taken just a little more off of there. And that's going to drive me nuts, so I am going to take a little bit off. I'm just going to go right to the other side of this and just cut straight up. So probably that rectangle should have been a little bit smaller than the measurements I did, but that's all right. Oh my gosh, it's getting real sticky because the glue is drying. So it like wants to stick right away. Right there. Okay. And when I cut this one, I am going to go... Wait, hold on. We want to keep this piece. I'm going to go just outside of the corner. That way I can know it's going to be about the size that I want. And just angling that right up just outside that corner. So see, I left a little bit of that squared off bit. All right, guys. Hopefully that doesn't confuse anyone. But it's always, to me, a little bit confusing when I'm doing rectangles and then cutting them in half. If that was like a 4-inch square and you did 3 7/8 and then cut it in half, generally works okay. But sometimes you still have to do some math. So it's just, for me, easier to eyeball it. See that? That looks pretty good, right? Okay, I'm going to clean up a little bit, let that set up before we finish up. And if you need repetition, please go back and watch the video again. I guess we can talk about it right now. But again, I mean, I think that was pretty easy. I don't think that was too bad, guys. Did I write the main number here? I didn't. Okay, so 7 inches, right? It was 7 inches. This initial piece of cardstock by 11, because that was already what it was. Scored at 5 inches, scored at 6 inches, and then we cut 1.5 inches off of either side here, right? And then from there, we scored at 1.5 inches and at 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch, 1.5. And we did all the fun stuff that we did. The matte layers, we need 2 if you're doing the whole thing. That are 3 7/8 by 4 7/8. And then here it is 7/8 by 4 7/8. Okay. This guy has the funky numbers, but 6 1/4 by 3 9/16. So 6 1/4 by 3 9/16. We scored it at 2 inches and then at 3 1/16. And that left a 1/2 inch glue tab. And then we started cutting after we did some scoring. So let's talk about that. So yeah, 2 3/16. Cut this down. So we have a glue tab. Cut into this. So we have this other glue tab. And then our matte layers. So the matte layers were 2 of them, which were these guys. Again, we had to kind of fudge that after we actually cut it. But it's basically 1 7/8 by 15/16. This guy is 4 by 1 7/8. And then this guy is 4 by 15/16. I know, it's just shy of 1 inch, right? Okay. And so I guess that's enough talk because I think I can go ahead and glue this down. So we're going to glue these glue tabs. I am so excited about this, and I hope it fits on top because the whole point of this was that so we can glue this inside and it's going to go over the top of that thing. Oh gosh, you're kidding me. All right, let me clean this out. I'll be right back. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. So we're almost there, guys. Again, oh my goodness. You gotta be kidding me. So let me try to clear this out again. I need more glue definitely than what it's trying to do. Let's just switch out. Sorry, I feel this video is going on and on and on. There we go. Just fold it in and keep these lines scored nicely here, right? Right on the edge of that score line. And I'm so sorry about my camera and everything else that's happening right now. Maybe some lighting, you know, time changes, everything just gets a little wonky. Okay. And over here, ooh. Just trying to clear up a little of that glue. And tuck that under here. Oh my gosh, guys, this works. I'm gonna be so excited. And if it doesn't, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna hold that for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I think we're good. Just one fiddly thing left to do. So we made this 4 1/8 wide, so it fits over the 4-inch width here. And I just cut this. I didn't think anything of it. So we need to get this skinny enough or small enough to go in here. And right now, yeah, I had a feeling it's just touching because obviously it's wider. Again, we could have done math for that, but I don't think we need to. I'm just going to cut this. So I'm going to cut this at more of an angle and take a little more off of that and get rid of a little bit here. Okay, but again, if you want to do math, you can definitely, you know, figure that one out. I'm just trying to clean that up. And then same thing over here. Just going to take a little bit off towards, I mean, it's the smallest amount. Basically, you want to get it back to like 4 inches from, you know, 4 1/16. And let's see if that was good enough. Let's see if that's good enough to glue in here. I think it is. Oh my gosh, you guys. That is exactly what I was looking for. Now this looks crazy because again, remember that paper with the Michael's paper, I didn't quite measure the way, you know, it should have, because it should be a perfect 11 inches and it wasn't. It's a little more than that, so that's why I have that weird, but I'm not gonna worry about that too much. Okay. So this is the last step, guys, so I'm just gonna put glue on that. Again, like I said, you could have put this on the outside and then matte layered so you don't see it, but for now I'm gonna tuck this in here and get it nice and centered because we definitely want it to fit right over. I'm going to hold that down. I'm holding the glue flap. I know it might be hard to tell. I'm going to look at the back just to make sure everything's lined up nicely. I know for this one, again, because that Michael's paper, whatever happened, isn't quite right. But that should be okay. Let me see. I'm going to fold it. Oh my gosh. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to leave it right where it is. That's perfect. Yours, if your paper was exactly 11 inches, will be just fine. Okay, you don't have to worry about this weird little bit that I have going. I just wanted to make sure that it was flat so that this can go on there. Oh my gosh. Closure, magnetic closure. You can make this longer if you want so that when it flaps down, it really wants to stay because there's more of it. Velcro, I don't really want to do Velcro. If you want to put ribbon, you can definitely embed some ribbon in here or like embed it in the back so it comes through here and then it ties here and then maybe embed it here so that there's a piece coming up from the bottom, a piece coming up from the top and you tie it together, right? Because right now it's kind of wanting to open. So we can think about that. Okay, so that is it. It definitely wants to open up. I think I'm going to use some Velcro. I've shown you guys in the past how to make like an accordion folio to hold photos. You can definitely do a die cut piece and pop it up on 3D dimensionals and stick it down here so that this kind of tucks in, right? There's lots of ways to play with that. I think I'm going to use just some Velcro today, but again, embed a piece of ribbon here. For this one, it's going to have to kind of come from the back so that, because unless you want to cut a slit in here and then you tie it, right? Twine, I mean, whatever you want. I think it'd be really fun. Of course, a magnetic closure that has a little more expense to it, but you know, if that's what you like, then use that. I usually keep the hard piece, the loop, or I'm sorry, the hook part down here. I don't know, that's just how I do it. Let me see if that's cleared that good enough. Okay. And then I keep the fuzzy part for the part that you're trying to manipulate. I don't know if that's how it's done. Ooh, that's going to be a little difficult. Wow, that's really sticky because I can barely touch this together and it's already sticking, so that's good. Okay, please stay. There we go. All right. I just want to give it a good push, you know, get that really stuck down in this one too. So again, the hooks, the hooks are down here, the loopy part's up here because I feel like that makes it easier to open, right? I don't know. Okay. So that's that, and that's from the Dollar Tree. And then I was like, I mean, obviously you can decorate and do all kinds of things more, but this is basically 4 by 5 by 1 inch deep, okay? And I had this little piece from that time that I did the wreath for Dime Press, and it's been sitting here. I thought, oh, that's kind of cute. I have these real, look, $2.99, guys. Oh, it says originally they're $6.99. These are these Prima flowers? No, these are just Michael's Recollections flowers. There you go. I just saw these sitting over here that I haven't used in, you know, I don't know, 20 years. So, like, it might be cute, right? I mean, that's kind of cool. It's really big. And let me see. Ooh, no. I mean, that if it didn't have a pattern on it, maybe. But I don't want to bring something different. Yeah, they're all like that. What's up with that? Okay, so let's just do that one. And I probably have something old that I can stick with that. That's cute. I mean, Jack, have your like rosettes? Anyone? I love rosettes. Let me glue this down as much as I can because I do want it to. I wanted to have a little bit of movement, but I was like, you know what? It probably needs to be secure more than anything. And I'm really covering up that paper, so I mean, you don't have to obviously do that. And I'm going to see, I know in my stash I have brads. So I'm gonna see if I can find a decorative brad that I can pop through here. Just pearls, right, from your little embellishment sets. I'll be right back. With tons more brads than these. I put in this old Jelly Belly box. It probably has a date on here, huh, of when they're good. Through January of 2013. That's how old this jar is. They've probably been holding these guys since then. Oh, look at this. Oh my gosh, that's cute. That was the first thing I grabbed on top. I have all these cute little things. Lots of brads in here. Used to use brads all the time, but these are pretty. Should we go with this guy? The glittery one's cute too, to bring the glitter back. Okay, this is very kind of old school, guys. Like, that doesn't look as cute to me anymore, but okay. Hot glue would be better in this situation, but I'm gonna try and get a big glop of glue. Ooh, I have Beacons 3-in-1 here. That might work for me. It needs to be something that's really gonna give me a lot of glue. So I'm gonna get this going. I'm just gonna put a ton of glue on the back of this. You know, to me, Beacons 3-in-1 honestly is the GOAT. I opened this like 3 years ago. It hasn't dried out. It's good to go. All I had to do was shake it down. Like, this stuff is so good. It does have a very caustic kind of smell maybe you don't want, but it just works so well. That and Zig. You guys remember Zig? I used to always use Zig. And I mean the Zip Dry or whatever. Is that Zig brand? I can't remember. I don't know why I want to call it Zig. Okay, I'm going to hold that down for a bit. And it's probably going to take a minute to set up, but I'm telling you, this stuff will glue felt. It just does such a good job. Okay, guys, well, that was a busted out of epic proportions, I must say. I mean, I had no idea, to be honest, how you create something like this. I've done pizza boxes in the past, like from scratch, so it's kind of similar where you have to have the outer part has to be a little bit bigger than the base part, and it's one piece. But that's been a long time. So there you go. You can definitely hold cocoa packets, maybe some little shortbread, obviously anything that would fit in something like this, little accessories that kids like, all that cute stuff. Pack stickers, I think it can hold anything. Again, the technique, right? You guys just learned, I hope. So basically this was the size I wanted, and this was a 1/16 of an inch wider in this direction, and then an 1/8 of an inch wider in this direction. That's all you have to do for any box that you make. You either score it so it's an 1/8 of an inch wider, or you make the paper itself the 1/8 of an inch wider so that you can do score lines, wherever you need them. So that's it. A 1/16 in this direction, an 1/8 in this direction, and you're good to go. All right, guys. Well, that was fun. Definitely a challenge. A little bit of a brain buster, but we got it. All right, guys. Well, I'm just trying not to mess with this too much because, see, this stuff is still wet, but there you go. And I love the way that came out. All right. I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.